We all know football records are meant to be broken. Someone scores a hat trick faster, dribbles through an entire team, or even breaks transfer fees. But there are a few records that are just on another level. They're just untouchable. We're talking about records so insane, so legendary, that no player, not even Messi or Ronaldo, is getting close. In this video, we're diving into 3 of the wildest records that no one's ever breaking. Trust me, by the end, you'll see why these are staying locked in history. Before we kick off, make sure to subscribe to Goat Blender for the best in football stories, epic highlights, and the debates every fan loves. Smash that like button, drop a comment, and let's hear what you think. Pelé's 3 World Cup titles. Let's kick things off with one of the craziest football records that will never ever be touched. Pelé's 3 World Cup titles. Think about it, Pelé is the only player in history to hold 3 World Cup winners' medals. The guy didn't just play football, he completely redefined what it means to be a football legend. From the streets of Brazil to the stadiums of Europe, Pelé's name became the symbol of Brazilian football greatness. Pelé took part in 4 World Cups with Brazil, 1958, 1962, 1966, and 1970, and walked away with the trophy 3 times. He won in 1958, 1962, and 1970. And yes, he had some all-time legends by his side. Mario Zagallo, Garrincha Didi, Vavá, Nilton Santos, and others. But make no mistake, Pelé was the one who shined the brightest in 2 of those tournaments, especially in 1958 and 1970. At just 17 years old in 1958, Pelé made the world stop and stare. This kid burst onto the European stage during the first ever televised World Cup, and it was clear from the start that he was special. Imagine being a teenager and scoring crucial goals to help Brazil claim its first ever title. Pure magic. And that's not the only thing. On July 15, 2018, in the World Cup final in Russia, Kylian Mbappe, at just 19 years old, scored a killer goal to help France secure their 2nd World Cup title. That's crazy impressive. But even with that, Mbappe could not beat Pelé's record for being the youngest goal scorer in a World Cup final. At just 17 years and 248 days old, Pelé scored twice against the hosts in the final. These were not just goals, they were his 5th and 6th in the tournament, sealing Brazil's very first World Cup victory. Now, the 1962 tournament was a little different. Pelé was there, but after only 2 games, he got injured. But even without their star man, Brazil won the title, so he technically counts as a champion that year too. However, it wasn't until 2007 that FIFA gave him an official winner's medal for 62, because back then, only players who featured in the final got one. Fast forward to 1970, and it was like watching a king return to his throne. This time around, Pelé was in his prime, almost 30 and at the peak of his powers. After Brazil's disappointment in 1966, where they crashed out in the group stage, Pelé was back with a mission. And he didn't just play well, he owned that World Cup. He scored goals, pulled off tricks, and even created an unforgettable non-goal against Uruguay that's still talked about today. In the final against Italy, he scored and assisted twice, leading Brazil to a 4-1 victory. Now, here's why his record will probably never be broken. Winning a World Cup is hard enough, but to win 3 over 12 years? It's not just skill. It's about staying at the top, staying healthy, and being part of a national team that's able to dominate across generations. Since Pelé's time, only 20 other players have won multiple World Cups, and no one's reached 3. Some of these players barely even played in their winning tournaments. Even Kylian Mbappe, who got close with back-to-back finals in 2018 and 2022, still has a long road ahead. The stability it takes to keep a national team dominant over 12 years is unreal. In club football, yes, you might see European teams like Bayern, PSG, and Juve stack up on titles and trebles. But it's different. National teams don't get to cherry-pick top coaches or transfer the best players year after year. So yeah, Pelé's record of 3 World Cups is one for the history books, and it's probably staying there. Dixie Dean, 60 goals in 1 season. Now, let's talk about a record that also feels untouchable. Dixie Dean's 60 goals in a single English top-flight season. This guy, William Ralph Dixie Dean, was a goal machine for Everton and is hands down one of the best center forwards of all time. His 60-goal season, set way back in the 1927-28 season, remains the highest goal tally in a single season for English top-flight football. Here's just how wild Dean's season was. George Campbell, another goal-scoring monster, had set the record the previous season with 59 goals for Middlesbrough. People thought that record would stand for years. But Dean came in and with just 2 games left in the season, needed 7 goals to break it. 7! So what did he do? He scored 4 against Burnley in the second to last match. And then, in front of nearly 50,000 fans at Goodison Park, he hit a hat-trick against Arsenal to hit that magic 60. And that final game was pure drama. Arsenal scored first just 2 minutes in, and Dean equalized just a minute later. Then, in the 6th minute, Dean won a penalty and converted it to tie Campbell's record. Finally, with just 8 minutes left, he headed home the record-breaking 60th goal. Imagine the crowd going absolutely insane. The place was probably shaking. Dean's career stats are ridiculous. 349 goals in 399 league games for Everton, and 473 goals in 502 appearances overall. He stayed at Everton until 1938 and scored like clockwork every season. The guy was a legend even back then, and his name still carries weight in the football world today. In fact, even during World War II, Italian soldiers supposedly shouted, "Forget Churchill, forget Dixie Dean." He was that famous. Now here's what makes this record even crazier. More than 40 years after his passing, no one has come close to breaking it. Erling Haaland, one of today's best finishers, set a Premier League record with 36 goals in a season for Manchester City. And still, he's way behind Dean's 60. And it's not just Haaland. We've had legends like Thierry Henry, Alan Shearer, Cristiano Ronaldo, and still, Dean's 60-goal season stands untouched. Of course, some say Premier League defenses are way tougher today, and that's probably true. With the level of fitness, tactics, and defensive skill in modern football, hitting 60 goals would be close to impossible. But even with today's stacked super teams and insane goal-scoring talents, Dean's record just feels like it's from another era, a time when legends like him wrote football's history. So while we'll see players rack up 20, 30, maybe even 40 goals in a season, the 60-goal milestone set by Dixie Dean is likely going to stay in a league of its own. Most goals scored by a goalkeeper. Scoring goals is a real art in football, and naturally it's a striker's game. Sure, some midfielders and defenders get their moments too. Andres Iniesta, for example, notched up 102 goals, and Toni Kroos has bagged 73. But goalkeepers? You hardly ever see their names on the scoreboard. José Luis Chilavert, the Paraguayan goalkeeper, once scored a hat-trick. That's nothing compared to what one Brazilian legend did. This keeper didn't just score a few times. He scored more than most midfielders, even rivaling strikers. That's right, we're talking about a World Cup winning Brazilian goalkeeper with 131 career goals. Meet Rogério Ceni. Rogério Ceni was more than a goalkeeper. He was a phenomenon. In the world where big money transfers and flashy contracts dominate, Ceni was something rare. He was loyal, just like Ryan Giggs, Francesco Totti, and Jamie Carragher, who only wore one club's shirt. For Ceni, that club was Sao Paulo. He joined them in 1990 and stayed for a mind-blowing 25 years, representing them in 1,238 matches, even more than Pelé played for Santos. And during those matches, Ceni scored 131 goals. Yes, you heard that right. A goalkeeper with 131 goals. But his journey was nearly over before it even began. In the mid-1990s, Sao Paulo was struggling, falling to the middle of the Brazilian league, and players began leaving the club. Then, in 1997, Ceni finally got his chance, stepping in as the starting goalkeeper and defending Sao Paulo's net in 70 matches that season. It was not the club's best season, but for Ceni, it was his big break. And that season, something else happened. Ceni was known to show off his free kick skills in practice for fun. When Sao Paulo's new coach, Muricy Ramalho, saw his potential with the dead ball, he was amazed. Hamayo pushed Senni to take it seriously, and 6 months and 15,000 practice kicks later, Senni had become Sao Paulo's free kick specialist. What followed was legendary. Over the next 18 seasons, Senni scored goal after goal, racking up an incredible 131 goals in total. And to put that in perspective, 61 of those were from free kicks, 69 from penalties, and 1 from open play, which is more than some elite midfielders manage in their careers. But it was not just about the numbers, it was about the impact. Senni became a player that opponents feared not just in goal, but from set pieces too. In 2005, he nearly achieved a goalkeeper's dream of a hat-trick. Playing against Tigres in the Copa Libertadores, he scored 2 free kicks, but a last-minute penalty attempt hit the crossbar. Close, but still incredible. That same year marked the peak of his career, with a record 21 goals in all competitions. His goals carried Sao Paulo to a historic treble, winning the Paulista State Championship, the Copa Libertadores, and the Club World Cup. And during the Club World Cup, he even scored a penalty against Al Ittihad in the semi-final. In the final, Sao Paulo faced Liverpool, and although Senni did not get a chance to score, his crucial saves earned him the Man of the Match award and helped secure Sao Paulo's victory. Rogério Senni's career stands as one of the most unique stories in football history. He defied the expectations of what a goalkeeper could do, scoring 131 goals, playing over 1,200 matches for one club, and leading Sao Paulo to some of their greatest victories. Which records do you think might be broken in the future? Drop your thoughts in the comments and let's get the debate going. And hey, if you're into crazy records and historic moments, you're gonna love what's coming up. So don't forget to hit that subscribe button and ring the notification bell so you never miss out on any of our upcoming videos. Thanks for watching and catch you in the next one.